Welcome to Jersey Reads the Classics, an audiobook podcast delving into the finest works of our literary masters. Unfortunately, it's read by this woman.
What the hell? Who cares? Let's go on an adventure.
Hello, and welcome back to Jersey Reads the Classics with me, your host, Rosie DeCandia. Well, my friends, thank you so much for joining me. If you're rejoining me for a wonderful Christmas classic, once again, you don't have to be religious, spiritual, and all that jazz. You just want to get into some sort of holiday cheer and maybe just escape reality, because reality right now, it's a little sketchy. But I digress. Anyway, you know what we're reading, and we're reading A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens, but just a quick little recap. In the last episode, I don't normally do recaps, but I'm not doing this by chapter, so it's kind of like, I stop where I think I'm supposed to stop. However, the last one I did end on a chapter. He met with the ghost of Christmas past, his first one, and he saw his childhood, he saw some of his adulthood, and how Ebenezer Scrooge became a dick because he just chose to find money over love and all that other grand stuff. But we are moving forward, so let us proceed with A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. Stave 3. The second of the three spirits. Awaking in the middle of a prodigiously tough snore and sitting up in bed to get his thoughts together. Have you ever had that where you snored yourself out of a deep sleep? I've had that once or twice, and I'm not a snorer, but sometimes when you're really tired, you snore, and you can be cutting some wood. You're not even cutting Z's, you're cutting some wood, you're sawing wood, and it's like, and you're like, what the hell was that? And you're like, that was me. I've heard of some people actually fart themselves out of sleep. I don't know if I've done that, but that's funny too. Okay, Scrooge had no occasion to be told that the bell was again upon the stroke of 1. He felt that he was restored to consciousness in the right nick of time for the especial purpose of holding a conference with the second messenger dispatched to him through Jacob Marley's intervention. But finding that he turned uncomfortably cold when he began to wonder which of his curtains this new spectre would draw back, he put them every one aside with his own hands, and lying down again established a sharp lookout all round the bed. For he wished to challenge the spirit on the moment of its appearance, and did not wish to be taken by surprise and made nervous. Hello, you having frickin' spirits come visit you in the middle of the night like you don't want to be nervous, and they know you're going to be nervous. Hello, this is otherworldly shit. Really, Scrooge, you know what? It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to be scared. But we're working with Scrooge here. He's made some development after the first spirit, so we're getting a little bit better. All right. Gentlemen of the free and easy sort who plume themselves on being acquainted with a move or two and being usually equal to the time of day, express the wide range of their capacity for adventure by observing that they are good for anything from pitch and toss to manslaughter, between which opposite extremes, no doubt, there lies a tolerably wide and comprehensive range of subjects. What the hell was that all about? All right, without venturing for Scrooge quite as heartily as this, I don't mind calling on you to believe that he was ready for a good broad field of strange appearances, and that nothing between a baby and rhinoceros would have astonished him very much. Okay, so they're just saying he's prepared no matter what the hell is going on. He's gotten prepared. Well, he knew he was getting forewarned. It's not like they just showed up without him knowing. Jacob Marley was the one that really scared him shitless and said, you want to change your life? You don't want to be like me? You're going to get 3 freaking ghosts visiting you. So at this point, like Scrooge, you don't have a choice, and they're coming for you. It's either that or face a life like Jacob Marley, like an eternity like that. Please. Anyway, we're giving him a little too much, but that's okay. Now being prepared for almost anything, he was not by any means prepared for nothing, and consequently, when the bell struck 1 and no shape appeared, he was taken with a violent fit of trembling. Of course, you see, they're fucking with him. That's what happens when you have those expectations and then they don't meet up. You're like, what the hell, man? What the hell? But don't worry, it's going to scare the shit out of him. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, a quarter of an hour went by, yet nothing came. All this time he lay upon his bed, the very core and center of a blaze of ruddy light, which streamed upon it when the clock proclaimed the hour, and which, being only light, was more alarming than a dozen ghosts, as he was powerless to make out what it meant or would be at, and was sometimes apprehensive that he might be at that very moment an interesting case of spontaneous combustion. They do say that's true. Someone can spontaneously combust. I don't know. Is that true? Is it science? Is it possible? I should look that up because, if you don't know what spontaneous combustion is, because some people may not know, your body gets so hot that you literally explode. It's called spontaneous combustion. Now, we've all had our mood spontaneously combust, but have we physically spontaneously combust? But anyway, let's just move on to the story. Without having the consolation of knowing it, at last, however, he began to think, as you or I would have thought at first. For it is always the person not in the predicament who knows what ought to have been done in it, and would unquestionably have done it too. At last, I say, he began to think that the source and secret of his ghostly light might be in the adjoining room, from whence, on further tracing it, it seemed to shine. This idea taking full possession of his mind, he got up softly and shuffled in his slippers to the door. He did the midnight shuffle. That's not a song, but I've decided to make it a song. Okay. The moment Scrooge's hand was on the lock, a strange voice called him by his name and bade him enter. He obeyed. It was his own room. There was no doubt about that, but it had undergone a surprising transformation. The walls and ceiling was so hung with living green that it looked a perfect grove, from every part of which bright gleaming berries glistened. The crisp leaves of holly, mistletoe, and ivy reflected back the light as if so many little mirrors had been scattered there, and such a mighty blaze went roaring up the chimney as that dull petrification of a hearth had never known in Scrooge's time, or Marley's, or for many and many a winter season gone, meaning they never used the frickin' fireplace. Anyway, they probably were too cheap to even buy wood. Heaped upon the floor to form a kind of throne were turkeys, geese, game, poultry, brawn, great joints of meat, sucking pigs, long wreaths of sausages, mince pies, plum puddings, barrels of oysters, I'm getting hungry again, red-hot chestnuts, cherry-checked apples, juicy oranges, luscious pears, immense 12 cakes, and seething bowls of punch that made the chamber dim with their delicious steam. Okay, now this is a good visit. Okay, this fucking spirit is bringing like a friggin' feast. I'm all down with that. If you're going to bring me a feast like that, but then once again, it's not real. So it's like you can look, but you can't touch, right? You can look, but you can't eat. Okay. In easy state upon this couch, there sat a jolly giant, glorious to see, who bore a glowing torch in the shape not unlike Plenty's horn, and held it up, high up, to shed its light on Scrooge as he came peeping round the corner. "Come in," exclaimed the ghost. I like it. He's inviting Scrooge into his own room. "Come in and know me better, man." Scrooge entered timidly and hung his head before the spirit. He was not the dogged Scrooge he had been. Okay, someone's changing their tune. And though the spirit's eyes were clear and kind, he did not like to meet them. Yet, because he's embarrassed, because he's a fucking jerk. And he knows these spirits are going to do him good, even though right now he's still not healed. He knows why they're there, to change him. Okay. "I am the ghost of Christmas present," said the spirits. "Look upon me." Scrooge reverently did so. It was clothed in one simple green robe or mantle bordered with white fur. See, this is kind of my call out to the ghost of Christmas present. I'm wearing red because it's Christmas, and red pink is my favorite color. Hello. And remember the white fur. This isn't real fur, of course. It's whatever this is. It's very warm and toasty, though. I'm going to tell you, this was the best $35 I spent. This is going to be my Christmas robe. Okay. This garment hung so loosely on the figure that its capacious breast was bare, as if disdaining to be warded or concealed by any artifice. Its feet, observable beneath the ample folds of the garment, were also bare, and on its head it wore no other covering than a holly wreath, set here and there with shining icicles. Oh, I like this. I love it. So fashionable, the ghost of Christmas present. Its dark brown curls were long and free. I wish I had curly hair, but I never got it. Free as its genial face, its sparkling eye, its open hand, its cheery voice, its unconstrained demeanor, and its joyful air. Girded round its middle was an antique scabbard, but no sword was in it, and the ancient sheath was eaten up with rust. Okay. So now it says, Scrooge's third visitor, Scrooge's third visitor. You have never seen the like of me before, exclaimed the spirit. Never, Scrooge made answer to it. Have never walked forth with the younger members of my family, meaning, for I am very young. My elder brother is born in these later years, pursued the phantom. I don't think I have, said Scrooge. I am afraid I have not. Have you had many brothers, spirit? More than 1,800, said the ghost. Oh, good Lord, that's a big family. A tremendous family to provide for, muttered Scrooge. Of course, he's thinking, of course, he's got to support them. The ghost of Christmas present rose. Spirit, said Scrooge submissively, conduct me where you will. I went forth last night on compulsion, and I learnt a lesson which is working now. Tonight, if you have aught to teach me, let me profit by it. Touch my robe. Scrooge did as he was told, and held it fast. Holly, mistletoe, red berries, ivy, turkeys, geese, game, poultry, brawn, meat, pigs, sausages, oysters, pies, puddings, fruit, and punch all vanished instantly. So did the room, the fire, the ruddy glow, the hour of night, and they stood in the city streets on Christmas morning where, for the weather was severe, the people made a rough but brisk and not unpleasant kind of music in scraping the sound from the pavement in front of their dwellings and from the tops of their houses, whence it was mad delight to the boys to see it come plumping down into the road below and splitting into artificial little snowstorms. Oh, that's poetic. Even though the weather was freezing and all that, it still sounded beautiful like music. That's very poetic, Charles Dickens, very poetic. The house fronts looked black enough, and the windows blacker, contrasting with the smooth white sheet of snow upon the roofs, and with the dirtiest snow upon the ground, which last deposit had been plowed up in deep furrows by the heavy wheels of carts and wagons. Furrows that crossed and recrossed each other hundreds of times, where the great streets branched off and made intricate channels, hard to trace in the thick yellow mud and icy water. The sky was gloomy, and the shortest streets were choked up with a dingy mist, half thawed, half frozen, whose heavier particles descended into a shower of sooty atoms, as if all in the chimneys in Great Britain had, by one consent, caught fire and were blazing away to their dear hearts' content. Oh my God. Everybody's got their fires burning. Things are just like, this is very, he's painting a picture kind of like Washington Irving. See, it's those old-timey authors. There was nothing very cheerful in the climate or the town. And yet, there was an air of cheerfulness abroad that the clearest summer air and brightest summer sun might have endeavored to diffuse in vain. Okay, so his surroundings look bleak and dark and gray, right? But there was something like an ambiance, a feeling of lightness in the air. Okay. And that comes down to, for the people who were shoveling away on the housetops were jovial and full of glee, calling out to one another from the parapets and now and then exchanging a facetious snowball. I love the word facetious. Facetious is a word that all the vowels are used in the same order, in the right order. You know how we say A-E-I-O-U? So facetious, F-A-C-E-T-I-O-U-S. So now that's a Jeopardy question. We might have gone over that before, but if you didn't know it, now you know it. If you didn't know, now you know. Okay. Better-natured missile far than many a wordy jest, laughing heartily if it went right and not less heartily if it went wrong. The poulterers' shops were still half open, and the fruiterers were radiant in their glory. There were great round pot-bellied baskets of chestnuts shaped like the waistcoats of jolly old gentlemen. I love chestnuts. I love roasted chestnuts. My parents always make them at Christmas time. Lolling at the doors and tumbling out into the street in their apoplectic opulence. Look at that, apoplectic opulence. Oh, okay. These big words, my God. You're not prepared for them when you're reading it for the first time. They were ruddy, brown-faced, broad-girthed Spanish onions, shining in the fatness of their growth like Spanish friars. I love it. Everything's roly-poly, that's what that's saying, and winking from their shelves in wanton slyness at the girls as they went by, and glanced demurely at the hung-up mistletoe. Isn't this sweet? He's using food. I like the way he's describing this food. It's almost kind of sexual. There were pears and apples clustered high in blooming pyramids. There were bunches of grapes made in the shopkeeper's benevolence to dangle from conspicuous hooks that people's mouths might water gratis as they pass. Don't you love when you talk about food? Sometimes they're saying like they're hanging things and you walk. Right now, my mouth is actually watering. It's true. When you hear about something you like to eat, like all these fruits and vegetables and stuff, you're like, I mean, some people it's like cakes. I like cakes too. But anyway, well, we're talking, I mean, I'm literally, my mouth is watering over here. I'm watering over here. Okay. There were piles of filberts. Oh, filberts, aren't those nuts? Mossy and brown, recalling in their fragrance ancient walks among the woods and pleasant shufflings ankle deep through withered leaves. There were Norfolk biffins, squat and swarthy, setting off the yellow of the orange and lemons, and in the great compactness of their juicy persons, urgently entreating and beseeching to be carried home in paper bags and eaten after dinner. I don't know what Norfolk biffins are. Norfolk Biffins, Biffins. We'll look it up. Maybe I'll look it up and put it here. That's what I'll do, because I have to edit this anyway. Okay, so here we go. The very gold and silver fish set forth among these choice fruits in a bowl, though members of a dull and stagnant-blooded race appeared to know that there was something going on, and to a fish went gasping round and round their little world in slow and passionless excitement. Okay, well, the fish are going to be eaten. That's what that means. The grocers, nearly closed, with perhaps 2 shutters down or 1, but through those gaps such glimpses. It was not alone that the scales descending on the counter made a merry sound, or that the twine and roller parted company so briskly, or that the canisters were rattled up and down like juggling tricks, or even that the blended scents of tea and coffee was so grateful to the nose, or even that the raisins were so plentiful and rare, the almonds so extremely white, the sticks of cinnamon so long and straight, the other spices so delicious, the candied fruits so caked and spotted with molten sugar as to make the coldest lookers-on feel faint and subsequently bilious. Jeez, that was like, for someone, I enjoy eating. I do. I'm sorry, who doesn't? There's very few people that don't. But oh my God, that right there was like foreplay. It's like all these foods. We're talking nuts and cakes and oh my God, it's gotten me all hot and like, See, my mouth is watering. Isn't it funny when someone can describe something and it's so in detail and can bring something to you that makes it come alive? This book is making me come alive. I don't know how much woo-woo is in this, but I'm going to tell you, there's a lot of things that after this chapter, you're going to be hungry. That's all I'm going to say. And it's also giving me a feeling of a nice Christmas Eve feast. For the Italians, it's Christmas Eve we really celebrate. I'll talk about that later. Okay. Nor was it that the figs were moist and pulpy. Oh my God, I love figs, whether they're raw figs or dried figs. And in what we do in my parents' house, we take a dried fig, we stuff a raw almond in it, and we eat that as a treat. Oh my God, my parents actually have a fig tree. I think it's still good. Obviously not during winter, they cover it up, but oh my God, love figs, love figs. Okay, or that the French plums blushed in modest tartness from their highly decorated boxes, or that everything was good to eat and in its Christmas dress. But the customers were all so hurried and so eager in the hopeful promise of the day that they tumbled up against each other at the door, crashing their wicker baskets wildly, and left their purchases upon the counter, and came running back to fetch them, and committed hundreds of the little mistakes in the best humor possible, while the grocer and his people were so frank and fresh that the polished hearts with which they fastened their aprons behind might have been their own, worn outside for general inspection, and for Christmas doors to peck at it if they choose. Ah, that's sweet. We're going to stop there because there are chapters, but they're like 5 chapters in this whole damn book. So anyway, my friends, oh my God, are you hungry? I'm hungry. I'm actually looking forward to having a Christmas feast. I'm not going to lie. Really quickly, FYI, in the Italian tradition, we're big on Christmas Eve. It's like Il Vigile. And for us, Christmas Eve is the night that we have the festival. We have the food. And from the part my father comes from, my mom, I think my father's area, and he comes from southern Italy. So we do the 7 fish. I don't think all of Italy does, but there are many parts of Italy that do like the night of the fish. or fishes, but I don't think you say fishes. So you have to have seven types of fish throughout the night for good luck. I think it's for good luck. So they'll make calamari salad with scungio. They make oysters, raw oysters. We'll have clams casino. There'll be bacala, which is actually a really salty fish, which I do love. Shrimp, there'll be shrimp. So they make all these different fish for good luck. And that's been a tradition since I was a kid, because that's part of my culture. So for us, Christmas Eve's the night the family gets together. Obviously, it's COVID. We won't be doing that. But the point is this. It's really about the memories I have. And I think, you know what? There's not a lot of woo-woo in this, because let's talk about this. The thing is this, we know that Scrooge is starting to lighten up, right? The first ghost has already made an indent on Scrooge, because Scrooge now has visited his past in our other, previous episode. But in this episode, he's obviously more humble, and he's more apt to learn, and he's willing to change his ways. But what I love about the Christmas present is, even though Scrooge is a miserable man, and we can take it into our own lives right now. Like, it's COVID, and it's a very scary time for many people. And also, a lot of people are just angry. We don't have to stay in that place. We can get swept up in other people's joys to bring it to ourselves. So what I like about this, we can relate to today, is, you know how I said, think about memories? I think it was a couple of episodes ago about what brings you back to childhood or what have you, right? To a great feeling. You don't even have to be a Christian to for this to go back. But think about a time where your family had a celebration, whether it was Christmas or Hanukkah or Ramadan or Kwanzaa, where you all get together. I don't know a lot of the other holidays, because obviously I wasn't raised in other, traditions. So, but think of a time when you got together with your family and it was an amazing time, and the food and the feeling of, lightness, and everybody was so jovial and happy. And, even though there are dark times, people always find a way to find a little aspect of joy. So I know we are approaching the holiday season, right? I started this book, obviously, I started this book, so we are very close to the holidays. And it's to help get us into a spirit of feeling at least okay, a little levity. And you're saying to me, Rosie, there's still COVID. I get that. But we have to also alter where we are mentally. And the only way we can do that is if we do it. No one can do that for us. So I'm just going to encourage you in this episode to think of a time that you really had the best, night or time with your whole family, and it was a great get together, and the foods, and also if there's something in your culture that you do eat, and think about it. And you know what? I think that's nice to hold on to some memories. Also, maybe this year you can honor something and do a specific tradition that you haven't done in years, or, just in honor of family members that maybe have passed on and left this plane of existence, and you can honor them by maybe making a recipe that your grandmother used to make, your grandfather used to do. And that's a way of bringing back some feeling of oh my God, when I was a kid, this made me feel really great. So that's kind of what I want to leave you with. I want you to think about really your senses, to use your memories to think about the food you love to eat from holidays past or dinners past when you were with your family, and the feeling you got, the comfort, the joy of being around certain family members, and the joy of the traditions that you celebrated together. And even though this Christmas is going to look different for everybody, we know this. Remember, you're not alone. Everybody is not going to have their holidays, whatever you're celebrating, the same. It's not. And it is what it is. But it doesn't mean you can't do something this holiday season, whatever you're celebrating, to honor something that you really brings you joy. And that's what I'm going to leave you with. So, my friends, I hope that you are staying well. I hope that you are blessed, feeling blessed. I hope that you are staying in the flow, in the know, and in the glow, and knowing that right here, right now, you are enough, you are worthy, you're loved, someone is thinking about you. And just know that I'm thinking about you. I'm sending you tons of light, love, peace, joy, bliss, and all that good stuff, and magic, and fairy dust, and until we frickin' read again. Yeah.